I do appreciate everyone coming here this afternoon. I know that this is a serious issue that's facing not only our nation, but nations across the globe. We in the Beaufort County School District and the Board of Education take the health and safety of our children extremely serious. And we do have procedures that are put in place to ensure that safety. Now, although cannot confirm or deny, any of our employees have traveled anywhere in the continental United States or in the world where they may or may not have been exposed to certain types of infectious diseases. I will talk about the process and procedures we have in place. I will also mention that I've been in contact with Dr. Linda Bell, who is the South Carolina epidemiologist. She concurs with our process and what we have in place to ensure that what we're providing is a very safe environment for all of our students and staff members. If a staff member has been anywhere where we believe there is an infectious disease present, we have the right and authority to request for a written physician statement stating that they are free from whatever that infectious disease is, and they are not a danger to anyone entering any of our buildings, students or staff. We invoke that when necessary, and we do have it invoked currently in our school district. We also want to make sure that it's not just for the students that come in each day, but as you know, we are in the process of having many open houses throughout the county. If we have suspicion or suspect that someone may have been have encountered such an infectious disease or any infectious disease, we also have protocol in place to ensure that they're not in the building at the time we have general public in the building until such time that they're cleared. So if you see individuals in our building, it's because we believe them to be clear of any infectious disease that would harm our public. Now obviously that's based on what we know. We also have a policy in place that requires individuals to inform us if they've been anywhere where any type of infectious disease exists, so that we can then invoke all of the protocols we have in place. So I'm going to stop right there and see if any of you have any follow-up questions.
If you could speak specifically to the process, the procedure, what exactly is that process that you guys have in place?
The process is once someone self-reports or we have knowledge that they may have been somewhere where there's an infectious disease, we no longer allow them to enter our buildings until such time they can provide a physician statement saying that they are clear of that infectious disease and they are no longer a risk to students or staff.
I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Did those teachers already provide a statement? Or
I'm not going to speak to any one individual. I do believe that would be a violation of FERPA and HIPAA.
When you say that you have a policy for staff to either self-report,
staff or students,
right, or students to if you either have previous knowledge that they were traveling somewhere or they self-report that they were somewhere where there's an infectious disease, how near is near? What is it just in the country where there's been an infectious disease, in the city? What sort of parameters do you set up?
Well, obviously DHEC and CDC have very specific parameters and very specific guidelines. For something that we believe is very serious, we extend beyond that. We, I believe, do have the flexibility to decide that we could extend beyond that. So for instance, if there was a disease in Mississippi and you're coming to us from Oregon, we would probably ask, we would ask you to provide the same kind of statement.
Can you tell us a little bit more? You mentioned a doctor at the beginning who you've consulted with or spoken with.
Dr. Linda Bell.
Okay, can you tell us a little more? I mean, just you kind of outlined.
She's the state epidemiologist. I can't tell you
Well, and so you outlined the procedure that you've outlined here to us?
We discussed the process that the state of South Carolina is taking. We discussed the process that the Department of Health and both Center for Disease Control have outlined. We recognize that what we're doing is above and beyond those requirements, but I do believe we're well within the board policy and the procedures to ensure we have a safe environment for all of our students and staff. That it's not too far outside the guidelines, that it's not acceptable. She does know what we're requesting, so she's comfortable with what the process we have in place for infectious diseases.
As of right now, at this point, all students, all staff cleared to start back school Monday. Would you be able to say
To
that?
my knowledge, we do not have a student or a staff member that has an infectious disease.
You know, school starts next week.
Monday.
Yeah. Are you surprised that, are you disappointed that all the focus is on this instead of the students getting back to school and ready for another school year?
Well, it's not that I'm disappointed, and I'm definitely not surprised. And I say I'm not surprised because I think anytime you have something that has received such media attention throughout the world, if there is a glimmer of it in a community, and especially the size of our community, I think it almost takes a life of its own, and it starts to generate things that may or may not be truthful in terms of the reality of the situation. And you always have individuals that may or may not be comfortable believing that what physicians lay out is accurate. I mean, when you read how many diseases are contracted, there would be folks that still believe you can contract all types of diseases in ways that aren't even identified. So it doesn't surprise me. I would truly love the focus to be that we're getting ready to start the 14-15 school year and all the wonderful choice programs we have and all the great scholarship opportunities our students are participating in. But I also know what drives media.
So is it making it difficult for you?
No, it doesn't make it difficult. It's just part of the job.
How many parents, I know you probably don't know this number, but how many parents would you say you guys received calls from yesterday? Because I know probably your phones were off the hook yesterday.
No, mine were not, and I can honestly tell you that I had one parent call and I returned that one parent call.
I had under a dozen.
Under a dozen. And what exactly was that? How'd that conversation go?
I ended up having to leave a message because they weren't there, so they have not called me back yet.
Cool.
Do you understand, I mean, I know you said sometimes these things can take a life of their own, but I mean, do you understand the parent concern that is there? I mean, not at all saying that these teachers who have traveled there, you know, weren't doing noble or admirable work, but just wanting to make sure with this outbreak that is you know, spreading across the world, that obviously just want to ensure the health and safety of those teachers, of their peer staff, students, everyone involved?
If your question is, do I understand parents' concern of the safety of their children, the answer to that's yes. I'm not going to speak to any particular situation or any particular circumstance, but if, as a parent, do I understand the need to ensure my 3 daughters are in a safe environment? Of course I do.
What would the protocol be if staff or student were to exhibit Ebola-like symptoms in class?
If those symptoms are exhibited in our school district, we will follow the guidelines of the Department of Health and the guidelines under the Center for Disease Control.
What are those guidelines to you?
It's about 8 pages if you'd like for me to send them to you.
Okay.
I don't think you want me to read them to you.
No, I just thought like they were.
But I'd be happy to read them to you, but I don't know that you want to spend that much time with me talking about them.
So come Monday, you're assuring parents their kids are gonna be okay in the classroom?